Finally, Mr. Granoff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I thank the Inter-Parliamentary Union and the President of the General Assembly for convening us today. Humanity is making itself an endangered species. Nuclear deterrence practice amplifies adversity and ongoing threats of nuclear annihilation, while we are inadequately cooperating to protect the regenerative processes of nature, the very life of the biosphere, biodiversity, climate stability, the very home of the environment upon which human life depends. The daily life of people everywhere is thus placed at risk. It is time for a focus on human security, an identified approach adopted by consensus by the General Assembly of the UN to identify and address widespread and cross-cutting challenges to the survival, livelihood, and dignity of all people. Human security focuses on how people actually live in their daily lives. It seeks to meet basic human needs: economic, food, health, environmental, personal, community, and political security. This framework integrates sustainable development, good governance, the rule of law, and the local and global, recognizing that global threats are actually always local threats as well. In this regard, amongst nations, cooperative and common security should guide us. Here are some examples of what parliamentarians and legislative bodies can cause governments to do now. I need not remind this audience that the government is the employee and the people whom you represent are the employers. First, encourage all countries to accept the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice and other international institutions as key tools to resolve disputes peacefully, as already recommended by the Luanda Declaration adopted at the 147th IPU Assembly. Two, advance compliance with the unanimous decision of the International Court of Justice to negotiate and achieve the elimination of nuclear weapons. Three, ensure every child in secondary school has an electronic or physical copy of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Strengthen multilateral cooperative efforts to prosecute and obtain the trillions of dollars, 2 to 4 trillion is the estimate the UN has, trillions of dollars bled from the world's productive economies through tax avoidance, tax evasion, human trafficking, and other straight-up forms of corruption, and use those funds to fulfill the Sustainable Development Goals. And last, focus domestic policies to fulfill human security needs and protect the environment. And the list could go on. And there's lots of examples. For example, in the Inter-Parliamentary Union's handbook, Assuring Our Common Future, are some excellent proposals, and that's available at the IPU online. Permit me to share some more abstract thoughts. Governments retain the primary role for ensuring survival, livelihood, and the dignity of their citizens, and the protection of the state. Governments today also have to protect other species, for humanity is but one thread of this wondrous web of life. And these duties can only be fulfilled by strengthening cooperative, common security amongst nations, and realizing that at both the local and global level, we are one human family, and living together is not an option, it is a necessity. This moral insight of the unity of the human family has always been an admonition of the wise, but today it's become a practical necessity. And that's our moment of life together. This has never happened before. No matter how much is spent on weaponry, nor how much an economy of a nation grows, if its people are unhealthy, insecure in their livelihoods, persons, or property, and that includes psychological insecurity, security and well-being will evade that nation. It is unacceptable to accept secure states with insecure people. No nation, or even a group of nations, is capable of protecting the health of the oceans, nor protecting us from pandemics. You know that we're polluting the oceans with around 12.7 million tons of plastic a year, and if we continue to heat up the climate, we're going to actually change the streams, the Gulf Stream, for example. And the pH of the oceans is a system that the phytoplankton depends upon. The phytoplankton is 60 to 70% of our oxygen. If any of us loses a lung, we can live. But if we destroy the third lung of the phytoplankton, we all die. And no nation can protect the phytoplankton. The only way you can provide local security to your citizens is by protecting the phytoplankton, and that cannot be done as long as we have a militaristic model of security. This is not ideological. This is a fact. It's not a fact of the West or the East or the North or the South. We all share this one lung. And today, for the first time in human history, it becomes a requirement to see the human family as one. The icon of modernity is there are two icons that none of our grandparents would have understood. One is the mushroom cloud. My grandfather would have thought of mushroom soup. The other is the picture of the blue marble, this wondrous orb in infinite space in which we all share. Now, these are the two icons before us. And human security is what enhances the second icon of this beautiful marble and avoids the first one of the mushroom cloud. And that's our choice today. This change in perspective of putting human beings first and focusing on the duty of fulfilling their daily needs is a transformative and powerful idea. It's as powerful, and ideas matter, it's as powerful as saying all human beings are created equal and endowed with dignity, the very core of the vision of responsible governance. It lets us love people and use our ideas and things in such service, and not love our ideas and things and use people. That's the change. Loving people and using things, not loving things and using people. Thank you.